What if trying to become the better version of yourself actually strengthens your old identity or the identity that you want to change, right? And just like if you say to yourself, example, you lack confidence and you say, I'm confident, but you're still feeling scared. Or you say that I'm successful, but you're still struggling with paying your bills, or you're not still on that goal, you're still far from your goal. So what happens? Your mind is just going to tell you that, oh no, you're lying, man. And the problem there is, um, the more you force your identity, the more you actually try to be somebody else which you are not, or to jump onto that goal that you want to achieve, to be that best version through identity shifting. The more you push that, your mind will keep on doubt. It will create more doubt, right? Because the subconscious mind doesn't operate from repetitive words. It doesn't work on on pushing, forcing that you are that just be the best version of yourself. Just act like that. Just think like that. Behave like that will change your identity. And it seems nice. It seems motivating, right? Because it's being said you need to shift your identity first. You need to think and act to be the best version of yourself so you can change your habits. It is a good idea. But as long as you're not aware of that identity, if you are not aware of that, of what's going on with your emotion, with your thoughts, when you lack awareness and you push yourself, all your decisions, all your habits, all your behavior will still be controlled by your emotion, unless you are operating from awareness, right? Because the more you push in the identity level, in the conscious mind level, the more you push, the more your resistance you create. Haven't you noticed that? If you have been doing that for a while, what changes did you feel? How about this inner dialogue you're having in your mind, the inner conversation, very very subtle behind your mind saying it's not happening, you know? Because the more you do that, the more you create resistance, it just strengthens that identity that you want to change. So this is why affirmation, visualization is not really working in that way, right? I'm not saying identity shifting doesn't work, but the way on forcing it makes it even strengthen that identity. So it's actually backfiring even stronger. And the reason for that as well, because you are not your identity. We are not the identity. We are not this better version that we want to become. That has nothing to do with us. Identity is a role, okay? And this is why most the identity that we are carrying, that we are attached with, is dominated by fear. Fear simply means former experience acting as reality. So the identity that we are carrying right now is created since we were a child. It is a program. It is personality. We created that because of our experience in life, our culture, family, school, environment. It is a byproduct of the environment and the belief that we been carrying on and has been programmed to us. All those combined creates a personality or a character or a behavior. It's a personality. And it becomes, the problem is we get so attached with this personality, with this experience, and we think that's us. We get so attached with it, it becomes our identity. So this identity is now controlling our behavior, our controlling our decisions, and ultimately our situation right now in life is a result of the type of identity that we are carrying, that we are totally attached with. And that's a big problem. If If you don't want the identity that you're carrying now, if you want to change that, it becomes a big problem because there is an attachment that we think that this is our true self. But in reality, identity is nothing to do with us. Identity is just a role that we play in this game of life. If we want to change this identity, we need to get detached from it, right? You need to detach from the identity. It's the same thing. For example, you are dreaming. When you are dreaming, this is what we call it's a dream state. It's a state of consciousness. When you are dreaming, inside that dream, you have the character, yourself. And then inside that dream, there are people inside your dream. You have animals, you have trees, you get everything what you have in this physical world. Same thing in the dream. You have the same experience, same feelings. Something weird can happen in the dream, but while dreaming, that's normal. But the point here is when you are dreaming, you are identified to this character in that dream. And every people that you see in your dream has their own conscious mind, have their own conscious decisions, acting independently, including yourself. But in that dream, while you're dreaming, you think that you are that simple character. But in reality, all of those characters inside your dream is happening inside your mind. It's all you. It's all happening in you. But the only difference, you identify to this character in the dream, and you think that's you. But in reality, all of what you see in your dream, including the universe and the trees, the ants, the dogs barking around, is you happening in your mind. So identity is just like that. Same thing in the physical world. Who you think you are is not you. It's who you think you are. And this is created from your young age. That's why fear is former experience acting as reality. Reality is the identity that you think that you are is not an identity. How to detach yourself from that identity is you step even back. You are your awareness, right? In that dream, actually, you are just that awareness watching that dream. That awareness is the one who is observing, who is the witness of that dream. You witness not just yourself as a character, but you also witness all the people out there, right? So what I'm saying in this life now, I'm not saying that all of this, what's happening, is you. You can control of it. No, but the point here is to detach yourself that this you is just a character, it's a function, it's a character, it's a role, it's playing a role in this life. But the problem, if you are attached to it, if you identify to it, you can never change its habits. You need to create a gap. And by creating the gap is from awareness. You need to be aware of yourself. You need to be aware of the identity, of the emotions, of the thoughts of this person you are operating from by stepping back. And how you do that is notice the state. You just notice every thoughts, notice every emotion. And how do you notice? You just see it, you label it, right? You ask yourself, how am I feeling now? Then you just notice it. The same thing as you see thoughts popping in your head. If you just notice that those thoughts are just coming and going. But if you give attention to that thought, it becomes stronger, right? So, in an awareness state, that's the same thing with emotion. If you feel bad, you step back, take a deep breath, and then just step back and feel that emotion, and then label it. John is feeling this. This guy, you make it a third, a character. Be the observer of that character. My name is John, so I say, oh, John is feeling stressed right now. Just by doing so, you already create a gap. Then by doing so, you already step back. So this stress that you're feeling right now will not control you because you create a distance. So this is operating from awareness. You notice that stress, right? Take a deep breath, and from that on, you create a gap. You objectify that feeling, you objectify your thoughts, then there is a gap, then you can then evaluate. Because when you do that, what happens? You become calm. Then you detach yourself. So the energy of that stress become less, because the strength of that stress and that identity only gets strengthened when you are when it's attached to it, right? When you attach to it, because you are that energy. Your attention is the energy feeding that emotion. So just by seeing that, then you can change that. You can identify what is that stress causing from, because when you have this stress, your thoughts automatically supports that stress, and there's an experience that happened. For example, bills, right? Or example, you posted a content but it's not working. That situation alone can trigger a negative emotion, because fear is operating, right? Because there is some fear. um, for example, you want to achieve something but it's not being met. Everything that is not working becomes like a threat. That's how scarcity identity is working, right? If it's like a threat, the mind will create a lot of reasons why it is not working. I'm a failure. I'm not good enough. This is not for me. All of those thoughts will pop up simple from that one situation. So the situation triggers. This is how the reactor works. This is how it becomes a trigger. So we don't even think, we just react from a situation, and this situation becomes the habit. So by noticing your emotion and noticing what thoughts and what happened, why, you can now identify what triggers that emotion, what triggers that thought, so then you can then change it. By creating that gap, simply you can just say, oh, my messaging was probably not good. Maybe it's the time zone, whatever. But then it's a data. Then you know now how to refine it, how to make it better. It doesn't become a threat. It becomes an information for you to become a better character. So don't get identified. Just be the witness. Just be the observer, so that you can shape this character. And this is how you can rewire that habit. This is how you can rewire the identity, simply by stepping back and stepping to awareness. So again, this is why I'm saying it's not just don't push yourself to switch identity. Step back in the awareness state, and this is how you shift the identity. And identity is just a character. It's a role happening in this game of life. So if you want to go deeper to this, if you like this content, subscribe, follow me, and we have a community called Klariti, and we have a masterclass inside talking about this, going deeper to this three operating system, which is the reactor, which operates from fear, from emotion, mostly from fear, and you got the responder, who actually operates from identity, and then you got this creator, which operates from awareness. So if you want to go deeper to this, we have a free community. The link is in the description. Join, it's free, and then I'll see you inside. See you in the next video. All right, peace.